In this explainer, we're going to deconstruct a single, really powerful monologue that lays out a military campaign against Iran. Now, our job here isn't to fact-check the claims, but to really break down the speaker's argument piece by piece, exactly as it was presented. So let's dive in.
So here's how we're going to break it all down. First, we'll look at the central claim, this idea of a military being neutralized. Then we'll get into the numbers, the tactical scorecard used to prove that point. After that, we'll explore the much bigger, long-term goal of completely dismantling Iran's military base. From there, we'll unpack the justification given for the action in the first place, and finally, we'll look at how the whole narrative was framed.
All right, let's kick things off with the core assertion. This is the one statement that really sets the stage for everything else we're about to hear. This quote right here, it's the whole foundation of the argument. It's not a subtle point, is it? It's a massive, sweeping claim that Iran's entire military was taken off the board with just incredible speed and efficiency. Everything else we're going to look at is designed to support this single, powerful idea.
The operation itself is called Epic Fury. And according to the speaker, this was specifically designed to be a decisive campaign, one with very clear objectives. They're deliberately framing it as the complete opposite of what they would call an endless war.
Okay, so you've heard the huge claim, but how do you even begin to back that up? Well, the speaker lays out what is essentially a tactical scorecard, a list of specific, hard numbers to show the results.
First up is a really big number, over 10,000. That's the number of enemy targets the speaker claims were destroyed. It paints a picture of a massive, incredibly comprehensive assault on Iran's military infrastructure.
Next, the focus shifts to the sea. The claim, 150 Iranian naval vessels were sunk. This isn't presented as just a setback. It's framed as the total elimination of Iran's navy, which is a critical piece of that neutralization puzzle. And it wasn't just about the hardware. The speaker claims a huge blow was dealt to their leadership too. The commander of the IRGC Navy, that's the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, was killed. The message here is pretty clear. The ships are at the bottom of the sea, and their command structure is gone too.
So those are the immediate tactical hits. But what was the bigger picture? What was the long game? This next part of the transcript gets into the strategic endgame for Epic Fury.
The monologue lays out these 4 non-negotiable long-term objectives. Make sure there are no nukes, completely eliminate the Navy, dismantle the entire missile program, and, this one is really the key, destroy the entire defense industrial base. The goal wasn't just to win a battle, it was to permanently remove Iran's ability to even rebuild its military might.
Okay, so we've seen the reported results and the ambitious objectives, but why was this action seen as necessary in the first place? Well, the monologue offers a very specific justification for it.
And here is where the speaker connects the dots directly to a previous administration's policy. The argument being made is that the money from the Iran deal was actually used to build up the very same military infrastructure that this campaign was now taking apart. The justification then zooms out to a global level. The speaker argues that Iran was a much bigger threat than people realized, claiming they flat out lied about their missile capabilities. The examples of London and Washington, D.C. are used to reframe this whole thing not as a regional conflict, but as a direct threat to the West.
So this brings us to a crucial point. How is all this information packaged and presented? In our final section, we're going to look at how the speaker offers up evidence for success while at the same time criticizing how that story was being told by others.
The speaker accuses the media of using what they call a tired playbook. This slide really breaks down that argument. It's a classic damned if you do, damned if you don't scenario. The idea is that the media would have slammed them for doing nothing just as hard as they were slamming them for taking action.
To push back against any skepticism, the speaker poses this very direct question. It's a great rhetorical move, right? It's designed to set up a very specific and what they see as a very compelling piece of evidence. So what was the proof?
The answer, according to the monologue, isn't in some classified document. It's in the sky. The proof is the use of A-10 Warthogs and Apache helicopters. Now, these are notoriously slow, low-flying aircraft. The logic is pretty simple. You would never send those planes into a fight unless you were absolutely certain the enemy had no meaningful way to shoot them down. And that brings us to the final, provocative idea from this source material. The speaker frames the entire military operation as a form of diplomacy, calling it a negotiation with bombs. This leaves us with a pretty challenging question to think about. What does it mean when military force isn't just a last resort, but is presented as a primary tool for negotiation itself?